He thought he had rescued a helpless puppy from certain death. Cradling it in his hands, he rushed to the nearest vet, believing he had saved a fragile life. But the moment the veterinarian laid eyes on the creature, his face drained of all color. What he discovered shocked everyone. Before we start, make sure to hit like, share, and subscribe. And really, I'm curious, where are you watching from? Drop your country name in the comments. I love seeing how far our stories travel. The morning was quiet, the streets still damp from last night's rain, when a faint whimper caught his attention. At first, he thought it was nothing more than the wind, but as he stepped closer, the sound grew desperate, almost pleading. His heart skipped. Something small was hidden near a trash bin. He knelt down, brushing aside old cartons, and there it was. A tiny creature shivering uncontrollably, its eyes wide and glistening. His first thought was simple: a newborn puppy, abandoned and helpless. Its fragile body fit into the palm of his hand, trembling against the chill of the morning air. Without hesitation, he scooped it up, holding it close to his chest, as if shielding it from the world. "Don't worry, little one," he whispered, his voice cracking with emotion. "You're safe now." In that moment, he felt like a hero, rescuing a life too innocent to be lost. What he didn't know was that this rescue was only the beginning of a story far stranger than he ever imagined. At first, everything seemed normal. The little creature nestled in a blanket, its tiny body rising and falling with each shallow breath. He gave it warm milk from a dropper, just as he had once done with an orphaned kitten. But soon, things began to feel different. The way it moved was oddly graceful, not clumsy like a puppy. Its limbs stretched and curled with surprising strength, and its sharp little claws gripped his finger tighter than he expected. At times, its enormous eyes followed him across the room, unblinking, almost calculating. That night, as the room fell silent, he awoke to an unsettling sound. The creature wasn't whining or barking. It made a low, eerie chirp that echoed in the darkness. It didn't feel like a puppy's cry at all. A shiver ran through him as he whispered to himself, "What are you?" His heart raced, but he pushed the fear aside. All he knew was that tomorrow he needed answers, and that meant one place: the vet. The next morning, he carried the tiny creature in a shoebox lined with soft towels. Its wide eyes peeked out as though it already sensed something important was about to happen. As he stepped into the clinic, the familiar scent of disinfectant mixed with nervous anticipation in his chest. The veterinarian, an older man with decades of experience, smiled warmly at first. "Let's see this little pup you've rescued," he said, reaching gently into the box. But the second his fingers brushed the animal's fur, his expression froze. The warmth drained from his face, replaced by a rigid stillness. He didn't say a word at first, only adjusted his glasses and leaned in closer. He turned the small creature around slowly, examining its paws, its tail, its eyes, lingering on each detail far longer than seemed necessary. Finally, he looked up, his eyes wide and uncertain. The rescuer frowned. "What's wrong, Doc? Isn't it a puppy?" The vet swallowed hard, his voice barely steady as he whispered, I don't think so." The veterinarian set the creature gently back into the box, his hands trembling ever so slightly. He pulled in a long breath before speaking, as though choosing every word carefully. "This isn't a puppy," he finally said, his voice tight with concern. The rescuer blinked, stunned, his mind refusing to process the words. The vet leaned closer, pointing at the creature's features. "Look at the ears, too sharp, too wide, and the claws, they're retractable. Puppies don't have claws like this." His voice dropped to a near whisper as he touched the tiny animal's tail. "And this tail isn't wagging, it curls like a predator's." The man felt his stomach sink. He looked at the creature again, its enormous eyes staring back at him. Innocent, but different. "So, what is it then?" he asked, his voice cracking. The vet stepped back, removing his glasses. For the first time in his career, he looked genuinely unsettled. "It's not a dog. This animal doesn't belong in someone's home. It belongs in the wild, and if it stays here, it could be dangerous. The man's chest tightened. He had wanted to save a life, but had he just brought home a threat? That night, the man couldn't sleep. The vet's words echoed in his mind like a warning he couldn't shake. He had placed the little creature in a blanket-lined box near his bed, but every so often he heard scratching sounds, sharper and more deliberate than a puppy's playful claws. In the morning, he noticed something strange. The food he left untouched. The night before was gone, but not in the way puppies usually eat. The bones had been cracked open, marrow sucked clean. His stomach turned. Puppies didn't eat like that. He tried to convince himself it was normal, but the pit in his stomach only grew heavier. Later that day, he took the animal outside. As soon as it touched the ground, its movement startled him. It didn't stumble like young dogs do. It moved, with uncanny grace, muscles flexing like a predator stalking prey. When a bird fluttered overhead, the creature's eyes locked onto it, pupils narrowing into thin slits. The man's hands grew clammy. His heart pounded as realization crept in. This wasn't just unusual, it was unnatural. He thought he had rescued a helpless puppy. But what if he had welcomed something far more dangerous into his home? The man's nerves couldn't take it any longer. He scooped up the animal, now heavier than before, and drove straight back to the vet. His knuckles turned white against the steering wheel as the creature shifted in his arms, releasing a low, unsettling growl that sent chills down his spine. When he arrived, the vet didn't waste a second. He rushed the animal into the back room, a team of assistants quickly gathering around. The man waited, every minute stretching into an eternity, until finally the vet emerged, face pale, eyes wide with a mix of fear and disbelief. "This," the vet whispered, holding up photographs from the examination, "is no puppy. It's a wolf cub, and not just any wolf. Its markings, they belong to a rare, highly aggressive breed known for never surviving in captivity. If it grows much larger, it won't just be dangerous. It'll be deadly." The man's stomach dropped. All at once, the playful moments, the strange eating habits, the predatory movements, they all made sense. He hadn't saved a lost puppy. He had brought a wild predator into his home, one that was growing stronger every day. And now, the real danger was only beginning. The man sat in stunned silence, the vet's words ringing in his ears. A wolf cub, not a puppy, not a pet, but a creature born to hunt, to survive in the wild. His mind swirled with conflicting emotions. He looked down at the animal in the box, its innocent eyes staring back, trusting him completely. How could something so small, so fragile-looking, be destined to grow into something so dangerous? The vet placed a hand on his shoulder. "You have two options," he said gravely. "Turn it over to wildlife authorities, who may not treat it kindly, or release it back into the wild where it belongs. Keeping it with you isn't safe for you or for anyone else." The man's chest tightened. He thought about the long nights nursing the creature, the bond they had unknowingly formed. Every instinct screamed to protect it, but logic reminded him of the truth. If he kept it, he might be nurturing a predator that could one day harm him. Or, worse. With tears stinging his eyes, he realized this wasn't just about saving a life anymore. It was about making the hardest choice he had ever faced. The next morning, with a heavy heart, the man drove deep into the forest. The wolf cub rested, quietly on his lap, as if sensing this journey was different. Every mile felt heavier than the last, the bond between them pulling tighter, resisting the inevitable. When they finally reached a secluded clearing, the man placed the small creature gently on the ground. The cub looked up at him with wide, trusting eyes, tilting its head as if asking why they were here. His throat tightened. He knelt down, stroking its soft fur one last time, whispering, "I wanted to save you. But maybe the truth is, you were never meant to be saved by me." At first, the cub hesitated, taking small, cautious steps toward the trees. Then, as if instinct awoke inside it, it sprinted forward, faster, stronger, freer with every stride. The man's eyes blurred with tears, but in his heart, he knew he had made the right choice. As the cub vanished into the wild, its faint howl echoed through the forest, a haunting yet beautiful reminder. Sometimes, true love isn't about keeping, it's about letting go. And in that moment he realized he hadn't just saved a life, he had set it free.